So, would you mind telling everybody a little bit about who you are and what your business does?
Sure, sure. So my business is recruitment in the aesthetics and wellness industry, and I work with really all types of roles. So practitioners, management, sales, administration, and I've been doing this for about 5 years. I used to work in the aesthetics industry on the client side. So I actually did GM, and then I also did HR and recruitment. So that's my background. I've been doing this for about 5 years now, and I started out doing HR with a little bit of recruitment, and now my business has gone more into recruitment with a little bit of HR. So that's
Yeah.
my background.
Thank you. And so let's go back a short while then, or I say a short while, probably is a while ago now. And tell us a bit about why you joined Rocket. What was happening for you in the business at that point?
Yeah, so I joined at the beginning of the year, and that was when I took a decision that I wanted to focus on the recruitment side of things. And I think for me, my main challenge was that I wasn't from a recruitment background. Like I mentioned, I had done recruitment a lot, but on the client side. So I know how to find people, but I didn't have that kind of a recruitment agency structure. And I think one area that I was less experienced in was the business development side, which is so important for a recruitment company. So I felt like I needed to be coached by someone or a team of people who had that experience to really understand how it works. And it's been really, really helpful for me so far.
Yeah, great, great. So let's talk about what were some of the experiences or I mean, it could be beliefs and also challenges that you were coming up against before you joined then around that BD.
Yes, a lot actually. Because my way of finding clients, because I had been in the industry for a long time, was actually through referrals. And I had very little experience actually reaching out to people, and I really struggled with the message when reaching out to clients and putting the value out there, because I know I bring value, but I didn't know how to verbalize it. And I found it quite difficult going in discussing exclusivity and working on a retainer. And that's something that I found that's been super helpful with your program, because you have such a structured approach to business development. And then on top of that, you have a really good script in terms of how to present yourself, and not only present yourself, but really to get that client to discuss the core things that they're struggling with, and then being able to present your offer in terms of the value that the client is actually getting from you. So I found that it's really helpful, and it's just given me a lot more confidence when I go into these meetings, and I don't feel like kind of like I'm just going along, and I've almost been a little bit before joining Rocket. I was almost slightly, it was the client steering the relationship and how things were and how the conversations went. And I find that now, because I have so much more confidence and I have that kind of a structure from how you do things, I know how to do things in a way to take that ownership and control, which is so important.
Isn't it? And I imagine quite a lot of people can relate to that, which is it's not necessarily that, you don't know how to have the conversation, but when we don't have a process that we're following, it's so easy for the client to then set that tone, as you say, or that direction, and then we're actually just following the client's process instead of ours. And of course, the client isn't a recruiter, they're not an expert. And so actually, their process isn't necessarily the one that's going to get them the result that they want. So you're
Yeah.
right, having that system and process makes such a difference, and it gives you so much more confidence. And I can say that myself, I used to use the exact same process, um, when I was a recruiter. So let's talk about specific results then that you've had by implementing those changes. Tell us a bit about what's changed.
So when I joined the program, like I mentioned, I was doing mainly HR and a little bit of recruitment. So I was placing about, I would say one, maybe half a candidate per month. And by the end of my coaching program, which was after 6 months, I was placing 2 to 3 candidates per month, and that was my goal. My goal was 4 candidates per month. But when I got to that stage, I realized that actually I need a lot more support behind me for this to be sustainable. So now I'm in the next stage of actually developing my business to a point where I have that support in place so I can grow to 4+ placements per month. So yeah, I've definitely seen tangible results with this.
Yeah, brilliant. And so the changes that you've made have been this very structured approach on the call that you're doing and using a specific message and outreach when you are taking that to market.
So for me, what I've done is, first of all, you have the whole structure for LinkedIn outreach with messages and everything. So I'm following that structure, and that's already given me a framework on how to contact people. Saying that, I've been a bit lazy when I get really busy with my recruitment, but that's another story, and that's why I'm looking at a VA now. But yes, so for me, that is the number one thing. You have that structured approach to reaching out to clients, which for me, before, I wasn't quite sure how many times I should reach out and how often should I reach out. Again, I'm not from a recruitment background, so for me it was even more of a question mark how to do this. And for me, it just gave so much more confidence to know that, okay, it's not over the top that I'm reaching out this much. This is normal and this is what you need to do. Because as you guys mentioned so often, is that when you get to X amount of connections, that's your probabilities of them getting back to you really goes up. And those were things that I never really thought about. So that's the number one structure that really helped me. And then, of course, when I get to the phone call, then I have that script that you guys do, and I've made it into my own script and so just so it feels comfortable for me. But having that outline is it's a good structure to have. But then I think what I've really learned as well is I need to be faster. So I think, not being from that recruitment background and kind of being recruiting on the client side, I didn't have the same kind of urgency I really need to have to get those roles filled quickly. And that is something I've really learned to do better. And within that, also having that structured approach with clients that, okay, so this is what we're going to be working towards. This is how we're going to be working. I need to hear back from you by this time because of this, because if you don't get back to me, we might lose the candidate. But just having those kind of structured conversations as well. So the structure is really throughout the whole process and everything I do. And I've learned so much from your modules online. I've been through them in detail. I put together Excel spreadsheets because I like to have everything organized and clear for me. So I have that information and I keep going back. And now that I'm getting into the next stage of looking for a VA, I'm going to be using those modules again. So in terms of, you guys have such a good structure in place to get that information. There's so much information there that probably some people are probably not reading it all. But for me, I love information and it's been so valuable for me and I keep going back there. And of course the calls then as well. I think the calls are so valuable because having those weekly calls, not only do you learn from others, but when you have those questions and you're unsure how to move forward, you discuss that and you always get a new perspective and you get more confidence on how to approach things. So yeah, that's all. The structure is definitely there.
Amazing. And how has that impacted you on a personal side of things in your personal life? Setting the business up in this way, having it operate in such a systemized approach and getting that consistency. What have you seen?
Yeah, so a lot. I mean, something I haven't mentioned is you guys have such a focus on mindset as well. And for me, that really resonates with how I do things in general. And for me, that's been so valuable because it is so true. Whatever you do in life, if you don't have the right mindset, your chances of getting there are a lot smaller. And the chances of actually making it sustainable and growing are going to be smaller if you don't have the right mindset in place. So this mindset piece that you have, that is breath work and also sound healing, but also just generally on the calls, there's always a conversation around, well, where are you with your mindset at the moment? Why are you feeling? Is it fear? Is it why don't you have the confidence? And so, yeah, I've applied all of that to my business, but I found that in that process, it's like I've started actually looking at how I do things and why I do things in general a certain way. And I found that I've grown as a person from those processes as well. And yeah, definitely, obviously, having a business that is more structured and has growth potential. Now I see real growth potential. That's giving a lot more confidence and joy to me as well, overall.
Amazing. And that's so good, isn't it? Particularly when, like you say, you come with no recruitment experience, to be able to pick that up and run with that so quickly is incredible. So well done you for taking the action. You know, the information can be there, but if you don't take the action, you're not necessarily going to get the results. What would you say to somebody, Sofia, who maybe is sitting on the fence of, oh, I don't know if this is right for me, or and maybe, you know, they haven't ever thought about investing in themselves at this level. What would you say to somebody in that position?
Yeah, I would say that the best investment you can ever make is in yourself. And if you're passionate about recruitment and you feel like you don't have the structure there, you feel like you don't have the motivation there, but you feel a real urge to do it and you feel like you can, definitely it's worth it. And you just have to take that step, because if you don't invest in yourself, you're just not going to get very far. And I think it can seem like a big investment, but you do get value for it. So I think it's definitely worth it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.